What's up, guys? Welcome back to Wrench Avengers. Today I'm working on the center console for the 86. Basically going to be a time-lapse video for the most part of just the work I did to get it put together. Cutting bits out of wood and whatnot to build it. Most of it's made out of 3/4 inch plywood, while some of it is also made out of 1/4 inch plywood. It was mostly just stuff that I had laying around. I didn't actually buy anything for this project at this stage anyway. The rest of this was all just parts I had from other projects that I didn't need these parts for. Now, I cut the base out of 3/4 inch plywood. I did all my measurements inside the truck using cardboard and making a template for myself to get an idea of what I wanted. Basically, the shifter that I built in the previous video is actually going to mount into this, so it's actually got a kind of awkward shape, but it looks okay once it's actually in the truck. The base itself is 20 inches long on one side and 25 inches long on the other side, and it's 16 inches wide. And it has a notch cut out where the shifter is going to go that's actually 7 inches wide. I tried to make a jig for cutting straight, but the blade on the jigsaw that I have there is actually not straight. The blade is bent, and so I had a heck of a time trying to make a straight cut with it anyway. So I ended up just moving the guide so that I was able to just try to trace the lines slowly, make sure my lines were as straight as I could get them with that anyway. Then here you can actually see the notch that is cut out there that the shifter will mount to, so here's the kind of overall shape that you get of the base. So here I'm actually cutting out the sides for the console. The sides are actually 6 inches at their lowest height, and they're 14 inches at their tallest height. And I have a angle on it so that it's not just this square blocky piece. So here you can see the kind of layout, the shape that I'm going for. Don't really know the actual angle of that, so I'm gonna have to guess here later on. But for the most part, this is kind of what I'm going for. And then the shifter will go out front here like this, and that's kind of the design that I had in my head anyway. So here I'm cutting out the supports that are going to actually attach to the sides and then run screws from the bottom up into them. They'll be a little bit more strong than just going directly into the side of into the end grain of the plywood. I go ahead and attach the supports on the side with glue, with wood glue, and then also brad nailed them to the side just to keep them straight before I clamped them down. Here I'm actually just using my hand plane to smooth up the corner where some of the tear out had happened, and I just needed to be flat so that I could get the sides, or actually the front of the console to sit flush in the front. The plane's actually pretty cool. It's from the 30s or 40s. It's a Stanley. Here I'm just measuring out the locations that I'm going to make my cuts for the actual flat part on top, as well as what it will actually end up being the flat top and the angled top and the top where the lid's actually going to go. I'll have it on a hinge so that it will, have a compartment inside. So here I'm actually attaching the sides to the base so that I can get a proper measurement on some of these and make sure that everything's fitting the way that I expect it to. Don't mind my dancing here. I'm pretty sure I was listening to System of a Down. So here I'm actually making my angled cut to butt up against the angled section. This will actually be the top flat piece. I don't actually know what angle it is. I did a test cut on a scrap piece that showed to kind of butt up against it smoothly at about a 15-degree angle. So that's exactly what I did. I cut this at a 15-degree angle and it actually seemed to fit pretty well. Again with the singing and dancing, I'm not actually sure what song I was listening to here. So last thing we have to do here is actually just cut out the notch for the top piece and get ready to test fit things together. To cut the notch out of the top piece, I ended up just using the circular saw to make my straight cuts as close as I could, and then finished off with the jigsaw. Thankfully, the offcut from this top piece actually ended up being the perfect size for the lid, the opening section, and really all I need to do is cut down maybe about an inch off of it, and it'll be the exact size I need it to be. And you can see here what my kind of final product is going to look like somewhat. I need to cut a new front piece. As you can see, there's a gap there. Other than that, it seems to be come together about what I like. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it's like out in the truck.
Okay, so here's an idea of how she'll be inside the car. Inside the truck, I should say. As you can see, shifter right here. Armrest is right there. This is the front. Let's move. Well, the shifter where it should be. Basically, my arm will sit right on top of it, and hand can be right on the shifter. So first, second, third, neutral, reverse, and then park. So, not so bad. Getting more of a feel of what it's going to look like. Let's set that off to the side. So you can see he's got that notch cut out, so the shifter will be there. Be flat. I'll have my cup holders over here. This will be flat. Then we'll have a opening so we can get in here. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to box in the inside, just so stuff can't roll around too much in there. Haven't made that decision just yet. Probably will though. So that's where we're at. Perfect. Honestly, it looks good. Okay, so with that, I think we're going to call it for the day. Tomorrow is Easter. You'll probably see this next week, though. So, but tomorrow's Easter, and I'd like to get home and hang out for a little bit before I got to go out and do Easter junk. So, we'll pick back up on this probably next weekend, and hopefully we can get them finished up. I've got parts I need to get. The console's going to get covered with a material. I haven't really picked out a material yet. Probably something pretty thin, but it'll be black most likely. And then, you know, still more work to be done to get it completely finished up, but we're getting there. Should work out pretty well. I'm liking it now that I see it in here. I kind of designed it out a little bit. Now I'm seeing it. I'm really thinking I'm liking it. I know it's kind of weird with that notch in it for the shifter, but it puts the shifter where I want the shifter to be, without being this giant chunk out in the middle of everything. So it really mounts up pretty well. Pretty happy with the fitment in here. I considered doing a sub in here, but I've kind of gone away from it. If I decide to because I don't really plan on putting a radio in it at all, but if I decide to, I could bounce some speakers in the front part of it or something if I wanted to, or in the back. Really, I could mount speakers, and I could really turn this whole thing into a sub box if I wanted to. Just don't care right now to do it like that. So that could be a project for later, but for now, I think we'll wrap this one up today, and well, I guess we'll have a part 2, maybe even a part 3. So, thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe.